Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again, and it is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine. Kisumu is also fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, William Samoei Arap Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, on Saturday embarked on a 5-day tour of the mountain. That tour came to a close today. And I want to ask you this simple question. What is your general view of that visit? Did it achieve its objective? If you ask me, that tour was actually a huge flop. I'm saying this because when William Ruto embarked on that 5-day tour, he wanted to achieve certain objectives. The first objective William Ruto wanted to achieve was to showcase Kenya Kwanza development projects in the region. Did he achieve that? I'm not so sure, and I'm going to explain why. Number two, William Ruto wanted to consolidate Mount Kenya. Remember, it had reached a point where William Ruto was losing the grip of almost all his former strongholds, Mount Kenya being one of them. Remember, William Ruto currently consumes first-hand intelligence. So the intelligence had briefed him that Mount Kenya was drifting. So William Ruto had to rush to try and consolidate. Did he achieve that? I'm coming to that also. And lastly, William Ruto was also keen on whipping anti-Raila Odinga, anti-Uhuru Kenyatta's narrative in the mountain. For the first time, people never bought anti-Uhuru Kenyatta's narrative. But to some extent, they tried to advance anti-Raila Odinga's sentiments. So in this video, I want to explain to you guys why personally, I strongly believe that as much as William Ruto took 5 days in the mountain, it did not really achieve its objective. Before you do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And without any further ado, let us dive in, and allow me to thank the following people who sent their coffee. I'm so grateful. It goes a long way in supporting the channel, and it enables me to produce more videos. You can also do the same using the numbers you are seeing on your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think William Ruto took 5 good days in the mountain? And was it necessary for a sitting president to take 5 good days in the mountain? I'm asking you. Because remember, politics is also very important for William Ruto as much as the President of the Republic of Kenya. For me, I tend to believe that William Ruto's visit to the mountain achieved some of its objective. But in general, it was a flop. Why? Number one, you remember the second day, which was on Sunday, William Ruto hosted the locals at Sagana State Lodge. And the residents actually feasted at Sagana. So if you ask anybody about William Ruto's visit to the mountain, the 5th day, what comes to your mind? Generally, what comes to people's minds are those photos. How people were feasting. How the nation is actually hungry. So for me, as much as Rigathi Gachagua achieved his promise to the people down there, that is what carried the day, not William Ruto's event, because the idea was to show that the government belongs to the hustler, and then they invited the hustlers to that event. The hustlers ate, but that is what carried the day. The way the mountain, you see, people were actually mocking the mountain as people who fought for the second liberation, people who fought the colonialists. And now there are people who can only go and beg for food. People who are supposed to be the breadbasket of the country. You could hear some of them talking of like, oh, you know, it's even if I go home, I cannot get this kind of food. But it's just an ordinary food. Zile zinapikwanga kwa matanga. So for me, because there is a Ghana feast, overshadowed the entire event, I don't think William Ruto achieved the other political objectives. Number two, William Ruto also went to the mountain to prove to them that Kenya Kwanza government is actually working. Majority of Kenyans have been asking William Ruto and his government to show them the project which he has undertaken since he took over. It has been questioned all over. But William Ruto went to the mountain and he launched almost all the projects William Ruto launched in the mountain were actually projects which were either complete or initiated by Uhuru Kenyatta. Actually, most of them, I think 98% of them, were projects which were initiated by the former president. Remember, William Ruto told the mountain that Uhuru Kenyatta and the handshake did nothing. And now they were there launching projects. You see, if, for example, you come from where I come from, Nyakach, and you know you've been using the Sondu, Nyabondo road, and you know it's already complete, yeah, because it's now tarmacked. And it has been tarmacked for 2 years. Then the president goes there to launch it. You know, it doesn't really make sense to the ordinary people there. As much as for publicity outside there, it can, but to the locals who have been using those roads. So that is the biggest challenge, that the projects which they were trying to highlight actually were projects which were initiated by Uhuru Kenyatta. So it made the locals there figure out, why Uhuru Kenyatta did this much? So basically, it reinforced the narrative that William Ruto has not done much, his government. In fact, at some point, William Ruto had to go and defend the decision to launch projects which were already launched and which are some had been used for like 2 years. So you wonder how a sitting president can actually use public resource to go and launch a road which is in existence for the last 2 years. So that objective of development, it was not achieved, if you ask me. The third reason for me is that Rigathi Gachagua also had his political objectives which he actually wanted to achieve. But for me, Rigathi Gachagua achieved his objective. The first objective Rigathi Gachagua wanted to prove was that he is the leader of the mountain. He did that. The other thing he wanted to show is that he's working very closely with William Ruto. You remember when William Ruto was being interviewed and Rigathi Gachagua was captured urinating on the fence somewhere there. Don't be cheated that that photo was never leaked. It was leaked intentionally to show how free these guys are. Remember Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto with cups of tea, was it coffee, going to a meeting. You know, they were in a hurry, you know, just reminding us of Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto, the red tie, the white shirt, you know, the black or the parliament blue suits. So he just wanted to show those, which he did. But what is that adding to William Ruto's major political objective for the mountain? Zero. So Rigathi had his own objective. And that can explain, for example, why people like Moses Kuria shied away, which takes me to the fourth thing. This trip by William Ruto actually exposed the division within Kenya Kwanza, especially in the mountain. There is a photo, because I don't intend to edit this video. There's a photo which was taken William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua, Kimani Ichung'wah, Ndindi Nyoro. You know, they were walking, Mount Kenya leaders. When Kimani Ichung'wah posted that photo on his Facebook page and Twitter handle, he cropped out Ndindi Nyoro. And from that act alone, it actually proves that there's a Cold War amongst them. Why would Kimani Ichung'wah remove Ndindi Nyoro from a photo? The other question which I want to ask you, why do you think Moses Kuria was not prominent during this visit? Moses Kuria is a minister in William Ruto's government. He comes from the mountain. He was in Busia, Marawea. Why do you think he was not with William Ruto? To show, because you see, the docket Moses Kuria was given was supposed to help the mountain. He ought to be at every market center to explain to them the measures the government is putting in place to help watu wao wa biashara. I read politics. And silently, the event was kind of made to appear as if it was a Rigathi Gachagwa's event, if you ask me. So because of that, I think I think they lost the script. And lastly, the cost of living. You see, it became very clear that the cost of living in the Republic of Kenya is so high. This trip exposed it. The way Kenyans were really never bothered much, the way they turned up for that food, cost of living. So for me, if you ask me, William Ruto's visit to the mountain achieved some of its objective. But in general, it was a huge flop. The interest in that particular event was on the first day, second day. In fact, when Ruto left Nairobi, he used the road, Githurai, went to Keno, symbolically. And the way Rigathi Gachagua explained, they ensured that from the entrance of central Kenya, which is Githurai, I think, to Sagana, they ensured that he used exactly 8 hours, which was okay. For that first day, political objectives were achieved. The other thing which I think they tried to achieve was to show the crowd. I remember there is this lawyer, Wahome Thuku, was somewhere when Ruto was in one of the centers in Nyeri, and clearly he reported and he took photos. People were not there. But they tried to prove that he is still the main person. But the fact is remain that if elections were to be held today, it will be very difficult to divorce the mountain from Ruto. But there is some hanging fruits, low hanging fruits, which can be maximized by the opponents. So I don't know what you think. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.